Is it really possible to actually build a time machine? Traveling in time might sound like a plot for a great sci-fi film, but some physicists think it actually might be a possibility. Time travel may sound far-fetched, but scientists are already exploring several mysteries of nature that could one day be part of a day-to-day reality. Albert Einstein thought the 3 dimensions of space were linked in time, which serves as a 4th dimension. He called this system space-time, and it's the model of the universe that we have today. But scientists also thought it was possible to warp space-time, creating a bridge. This phenomenon is called a wormhole, and it can be visualized as a tunnel with 2 ends, each opening in different points in space-time. Wormholes might exist naturally in the cosmos. Indeed, scientists in Russia are trying to use radio telescopes to detect them. But using wormholes for time travel won't be as straightforward as we think. The nearest ones could be many light years away, and even if we could get to them and then survive the journey through them, there's no guarantee where you would end up. Maybe in the Jurassic era, or the swinging 60s, or just a random place in deep space. But some scientists have speculated that we might be able to conjure up our own wormholes at some point in the future. This would literally allow us to manipulate space and time. Physicists also predict that wormholes could have the habit of collapsing, crushing whatever's inside them. If a time machine is ever to exploit them, we'd have to find a way to stop this devastating event. The mysterious phenomenon of dark energy might provide a solution. In the 1990s, astronomers found that the expansion of the universe was speeding up rather than slowing down. Something out there is having an anti-gravity effect. It's pushing rather than pulling. We don't know what it is, but it makes up most of the universe, and we call this energy dark energy. We now know the universe is expanding, which is somewhat an observation usually noticed from an explosion, by which it would begin to slow down. In this case, the explosion was the Big Bang. But what we didn't know is that the universe is expanding whilst also speeding up, which means some force is pushing against this. An example of this, imagine you're on Earth and you threw a ball in the air with just a little force. As we already know, the ball will just fall back to Earth. Now, imagine throwing the ball with just a little force, and not only the ball keeps moving upwards, but it begins to speed up the further it travels. A wormhole will only work for time travel if its mouth can be held open long enough that it allows something to travel through it. That requires something called negative energy, which doesn't really exist in the everyday world. But the dark energy that permits the cosmos actually fits the bill. If we can figure out what it is, we might be able to prop open the wormhole just long enough to go through one end and out the other. We don't know whether we will be able to make a wormhole, whether that's technically within our capabilities, but who knows what future human civilization is going to be able to do. Technology has advanced so rapidly that maybe space and time themselves are something that can come under our control. Wormholes exist at the more speculative end of physics, offering one approach to travelling in time. If time all of a sudden is twisted into a loop that allows us the possibility of travelling in the past. However, in order to make it work, the concept would require vast amounts of power and a way of shrinking everything to a microscopic scale. But once we have a time machine, using it successfully will require a detailed understanding of time itself. The general accepted view is that the universe is an unchanging block of space-time. This idea arises directly from Einstein's equations. What's important about the model is the idea that the past, present and future are all equally real. So you can think of everything that ever did exist, does exist, or will exist as or somehow being out there in space-time. The dinosaurs are all out there somewhere in the past doing dinosaur stuff. We are all here now, and all of our future is out there somewhere in space-time too. One way to visualize the block model is to think of other places in time as being like other places in space. This is good news for the budding time traveler, because it suggests that there is nothing to stop us from swapping where we are now for some other place and time. But importantly, it implies that the past, present, and the future are already written, so that if we were able to travel back in time, we wouldn't be able to alter it. To take an oft-quote example, we shouldn't be able to kill someone's grandparents so that their descendant will cease to exist in the future. I mean, what are your thoughts? Will time travel ever be possible? If so, we would be able to travel both in the past and the future. But for now, the idea is exciting, whilst also being mind-boggling.